Hello, my name is Cassandra Blanco. I am Roman Catholic, and I welcome you to my podcast. Today, my guest is Father Ugochukwu, and he is from Nigeria. If this is your first time listening to a podcast with me, I have already done 3 podcasts on Nigeria and a live stream. So I wanted to get a Catholic perspective, a priest perspective on what's going on, and just to hear about what's going on with the Catholic faith in Nigeria. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the conversation over to Father and go ahead and let him introduce himself. Do you want to go ahead and start, Father?
Okay, thank you, Cassandra, for having me here. My name is Father Ugochukwu Ugwoke, and I'm a Catholic priest from Nigeria. I belong to the congregation of the Schoenstatt Fathers, and I work in the southwestern part of Nigeria.
Okay. And so, do you want to share? So you're in the southwestern part of Nigeria. The conversations I've mostly had are with Zara Youssef, who is a Christian who lives in the Middle Belt. So we'll get more into that, what's going on with the Southwest and what's going on with Christians in Nigeria. But before we do that, can you share just about your own vocation story? How did you become a priest?
Okay, I am from the eastern part of Nigeria, from a family of 8. At the moment, we are 7 because I lost my immediate elder brother 2 years ago. So growing up, I belonged to the altar servers group in my home parish. So, and belonging to the altar server means you're closer to the altar and closer to the priest. So I admired the priest and looked forward to becoming one of them one day. But then it was just like a fantasy. So every child would always want to become like those they see around them. So that was how it was for me as well.
Mm-hmm.
But then it was when I was 12 that I had the concrete experience of pursuing the priestly vocation. It was after my first Holy Communion, and I belonged to the group of the Legion of Mary. And as a legionary, we had different tasks assigned to us. One was going to the hospital to visit patients, to pray for them, to spend time with them. And on one of the days, I was on hospital visitation. We were a group. So we met a dying man. The man was Catholic, so he wanted to see a priest for confessions, for communion, for the final rites.
Mm-hmm.
But at that time, we didn't have enough priests. So it was a time in Nigeria when one priest was in charge of over 7 churches or even up to 9 churches. And these churches are far apart from each other. So it was difficult to get a priest for this man. He later passed without seeing a priest. And that touched me personally. I told myself if I were a priest, I would have at least administered the sacrament to this man. So the hunger to become a priest increased after that. And I went home and I told my parents, I would like to be a priest. I was very emphatical about it. I want to be a priest.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad was like, oh, you said this before, but now you're saying it with seriousness. So my dad was indifferent, but my mom didn't agree to that. She said, no, I do not want you to be a priest because priests do not get married.
Mm-hmm.
So I want you to get married. And after everything, she agreed because she noticed I was serious about it. She said, okay, I'm not going to stand on your way. If it is what you want, go ahead. May God be with you. So I enrolled in the minor seminary. And after the minor seminary, I joined the Schoenstatt Fathers because I wanted to be a missionary. It's always been my desire to be a missionary, to be a religious. So I joined the Schoenstatt Fathers in Ibadan. That was in the year 2008. So the Schoenstatt Fathers Community is a male religious community. At the moment, we are in Ibadan, Southwestern Nigeria, but then it is an international congregation founded in 1965 by Father Joseph Kentenich, a German priest.
Mm-hmm.
So the congregation came to Nigeria in the early 90s. So I was ordained a priest in the year 2019. I am 6 years in the priesthood. So
Mm-hmm.
still learning, still growing.
Still a baby priest.
Yes.
Ah, that's wonderful. So when you did your formation for becoming a religious priest, did you actually go to Germany for your formation, or did you do all your formation in Nigeria?
Okay, I did all my formation in Nigeria, but after my ordination as a priest, I went to Germany for a formation program. So that was in the year 2019 when I was ordained a priest. I was in Germany for 3 months for a formation program. But then because Schoenstatt Fathers is an international congregation, my formation period took me to other parts of the world where Schoenstatt Fathers are living and working. For instance, I was in Burundi in 2012. Burundi is in East Africa.
Mm-hmm.
So I was there in 2012, and I was in Paraguay in 2018, 2019.
Okay, yeah, interesting. So around the world, what language does your community speak? Is it German?
Okay, we have three official languages of the community: German, because it's the language of the founder;
Hmm.
English, because it's a universal language;
Hmm.
and then Spanish.
Oh, Spanish. Is that because you guys have a large Spanish like presence?
Yes, we do. We
Okay.
do.
And then how big is the religious community?
Okay, globally, internationally, Schoenstatt Fathers Community is very large. We are in almost all the continents, yes. So we are in Africa, we are in South America, we are in America, we are in Europe, of course, we are in Asia, we are in India. So we are in almost all the continents. Even though in some parts of the world, we currently lack vocation. So people are no longer joining, and I think it is universal. It is not just something that is happening to a religious congregation. It is happening to other congregations, especially in Europe and America. But in Africa, South America, and India, so there is rapid growth in vocation. So
Mhm.
we are growing and we are really big.
Wow, that's great. And what is the work? Well, do you have priests, brothers, and sisters, or is it just priests? And then also, what is the apostolic work that you all do? What is the community focused on?
Okay, okay. So Schoenstatt Fathers is a part of the Schoenstatt movement. So when our founder started, so he began the Schoenstatt movement. So you know about the ecclesiastical movements in the church. So
Oh yeah.
Schoenstatt is, yes, Schoenstatt is one of the ecclesiastical movements. So it is very wide. It is like a big umbrella. And Schoenstatt Fathers is just one branch under this umbrella. So we have the sisters, we have the brothers, we have the ladies of Schoenstatt. Those who do not get married, they are not sisters,
Hmm.
they but they are not married, but they are living a life. We have the brothers, we have the family group, we have the youth, then we have the pilgrims. So Schoenstatt is like a place for all. People of different walks of life find a home in Schoenstatt because it is meant for everyone. And our spirituality is Marian.
Mm.
So is Marian spirituality rooted in the covenant of love with the Blessed Mother, because that was how Schoenstatt started. It began as a consecration. Our founder um, consecrated himself with the boys when he was working in the minor seminary to the Blessed Mother, and in an act that is today called the covenant of love. And this has become spirituality. So we try as much as possible to form youth, families, and individuals under the protection and guidance of the Blessed Mother.
Okay. And when did the actual community start? When was it founded?
Okay, so the Schoenstatt movement began in the year 1914.
Oh, okay. About 100 years
So
ago.
100 years ago. So
Mhm.
yes, in 2014, we celebrated our centenary. So the movement began in 1914, but the Schoenstatt Fathers Community was founded in 1965. Our community is the last branch to be founded in the movement.
Okay, beautiful. Okay, so now that we've talked about the actual community, can you hone in on what does it actually look like as a priest in Nigeria? What does your work look like? What is your daily life like? How big is the community that you live in?
Okay, at the moment, I live in and work in Ibadan in a delegation house, like a central house in Nigeria. That is where I live and work. And I work in administration. I work in the bursary department. So in the administration here in this place is a big house. I wish you had the opportunity to take a view of our compound. It's a big house. And in this place also, the formation house is located. So I live in the same compound with the seminarians studying for the priesthood, even though I do not work directly with them, but then I have contact with them. I get to see them. I get to offer services to them as well. But in the community where I live, we are 3 priests, and
Okay.
the 3 of us work in administration. And what it is like being a priest in Nigeria and working here. So even despite the challenges we have, I think it is joyful. Tomorrow is Gaudete Sunday, the Sunday when we are called to rejoice. So I think it is joyful to be a priest. And I find my work also fulfilling.
Beautiful. When you say administration, I don't understand what you mean by that. Is it administration for your religious community, or are you
For my
actually?
religious community.
Okay. So are you working at all within the local community of Nigeria with people?
So I do not I do my work I do not have a primary pastoral assignment. I don't know if that is clear.
Yeah, I
Yes.
understand. So it sounds like you are mostly focused, your ministry is mostly focused on your religious community. It is not
Yes.
focused on pastoral work within the community that you are surrounded in. Do I
Okay.
understand
So
that?
my primary work is the administration. So I work in the bursary department of my congregation.
Right.
But then I am attached to a parish
Ah,
close to us where I help out on the weekdays, and every Sunday I go there for mass.
okay. I gotcha. So you're connected to a parish there. So where
Yeah.
you are located in Nigeria, you said it was the Southwestern. What is the landscape of Catholicism there?
Okay. In Ibadan, for instance, okay, southwestern Nigeria is unlike the southeastern part of Nigeria that is predominantly Catholic. So southwestern Nigeria is not a, so to speak, a strong Catholic environment. So I wouldn't know the actual population of Catholics here, but then we have more. So it is a mixed group of Catholics and more of Pentecostals and Muslims. And you have also a handful of traditional worshippers. But I think if I'm to do the grading, it is Pentecostals first, Catholics, Muslims, and traditional worshippers, especially in this particular city where I live.
Okay. And what is the current state in terms of the relationship with, well, Pentecostals, but also the relationship with Muslims in your area?
Okay, I mentioned earlier that Nigeria is a large country with different divides, and every divide in Nigeria is unique. You see, one who is visiting Nigeria for the first time, if you go to the different regions in Nigeria, you feel that you have the feeling that you're in different countries because the realities are different.
Hmm.
And so it is also here in the southwestern Nigeria. When it comes to the relationship amongst the different religious groups here, I think the relationship is cordial, unlike the tension you experience in the northern part of Nigeria. Here in the southwestern part of Nigeria, the relationship amongst the different religious entities, different religious divides is very cordial. I find good relationship amongst the religious groups. And I give you one instance. For instance, there was a time I was working in a parish in Lagos. I was studying in Lagos and living in a parish. And there are times when you have some celebrations in the Catholic Church, you find other Christians from other churches, they attend celebrations. For instance, the Ash Wednesday. Those who are not Catholics also come to church to receive the ash on their face.
Wow.
On 31st of December, usually in Nigeria, we have the Mass, we call it the crossover Mass. So you find people from other religions, including Muslims, coming also to attend that Mass. So here in the western part of Nigeria, we don't have tension amongst the different religious groups.
Okay. And then that's interesting. I know it's similar to any country. Every country has their own dynamics depending on where you live. But I know that there are attacks of Christians in Nigeria, and there's terrorist activity. So why don't we get into a little bit of that in terms of what's going on with Nigerian Christians in your perspective as well. So the first is there's been a lot of Catholic priests who have been abducted. So I looked up a report. It says, according to a report by the Agencia Fides and the Catholic Secretariat of Nigeria, a total of 145 Catholic priests were kidnapped in Nigeria between 2015 and March 2025. During that same period, 11 of those priests were killed and 4 remained missing. So can you just talk about that? I don't know, where those are actually happening, but just your perspective on that's going on. I know seminarians have been abducted. I see the reports of it. So do you want to share just a little bit about that? And then also, is that happening at all? Are you seeing any attacks where you are or in the area you are in the southwestern part of the country? What's going on with that?
Okay. Yes, the attack against Christians, especially against Catholic priests in Nigeria, is not something that is hidden. So it is out there on the global space. And I don't actually remember when the attacks started, but as we speak, it is growing worse. So abductions, kidnappings, and in most cases, priests are kidnapped and killed in the process. 3 priests from my religious congregation in Nigeria have been kidnapped.
Wow, really? Now, where were they located?
Okay, so one was kidnapped in the southeastern part of Nigeria. The other one was kidnapped in the southern part, south. The other one, the 2 in the south, one in the southeast. We're glad that the 3 of them were released. But it is a harrowing experience.
Yeah, absolutely. And so when we're talking, you're in the Southwest, but are these attacks? So I know the Middle Belt there's a lot of attacks going on there. Are there attacks happening then in the Southeast part of the country, or the South part of the country, not necessarily where you are?
Okay, initially the attack started in the northern part of Nigeria.
Right.
But now it has spread all over. And I was speaking to someone recently, and I mentioned to the person that at the moment, no place is safe in Nigeria. There was a time those of us here in the southwestern part of Nigeria, who felt that the southwestern part of Nigeria is safe. But then these terrorists have also infiltrated every part of Nigeria. They are in every nook and cranny of the country. So they attack wherever they want. So we do not even know which part of Nigeria is safe, because the attacks can happen anywhere. Priests have been kidnapped all over in every part of Nigeria. In the southeastern part of Nigeria, priests have been kidnapped and killed. In the south, priests have been kidnapped and killed. In the southwestern part where I live, priests have been kidnapped and killed. Even churches have been burnt. You must have heard of a church here in the southern part of Nigeria that was attacked on the Pentecost Day, just as the Mass was ending, terrorists invaded the church and started shooting. Over 50 people were killed, many left injured. So it has become a national issue. So it is no longer a regional issue, it is a national issue now because every part of Nigeria is now insecure.
Yeah, there's nowhere that's safe, you know? Like I know, I mean, I've done podcasts with Zara Youssef, and he talks about how it did start in the north and now it's happening in the middle belt, but now it's spreading even to the south, where like before it was seen more safe down there, and now that's going on. So it's just all over the country. Um, do you think that, you know, there's been so many attacks in the middle belt, there's so many IDP camps that are there. Do you think, like, what do you see as the issue? You know, government? Is it just bandits, criminality? What is your perspective on it?
Okay, you see, there have been different opinions about this. And last month, when the United States declared Nigeria as a country of particular concern because of the targeted attacks against Christians, many people came out to debunk the fact that the attacks are not targeted, that even Muslims are killed also in their attacks. But then when you look at the indices, when you look at the facts do not lie. So the attacks are targeted at Christians. And okay, now you are able to get details of the number of priests that have been killed in Nigeria. If you search also for the number of Muslim clerics that have been killed, I don't think you will get up to that number. So the attack is targeted, and the cause is religious.
Right.
So the cause is religious. No matter how they try to paint it, this is my own perspective. It is a religious war going on. And it is like a conquest, if I'm to put it that way. It is more like a conquest. We want to take over, and we cannot take over without exterminating these people that we'll find as enemies.
Yeah, it's an Islamic conquest. The Crusades, you know, I mean, and from not in the Crusades in the way that we understand it necessarily in Europe, but in the sense that there's a crusade to try to make Nigeria a Muslim land and then the rest of Africa. So, how have, I guess that would be a question, since you do live in a interreligious community, how have local Muslims been responding to it? Have you had conversations with them? Do any of them speak out or say anything about it?
Yes, I have not had much of personal conversation with the local Muslims here, but from what we see on the social media space, so oftentimes the way the Muslims approach it, so they do not want to take ownership of the fact that these attacks are religiously motivated attacks. So they want to push it away. They do not want to accept the fact that, oh, people who belong to, let me call them extremists,
Right.
who belong to a religious group are carrying out these attacks. I've never seen any of them who has come out to condemn in clear terms the activities of these terrorists, to distance themselves from the activities of these terrorists. So oftentimes they do that. If they do that no, nobody has come out to speak openly, especially from the Muslim side, the elites, to speak openly against these attacks. So that is why I feel that, so there are many hands behind what is happening.
Yeah, it's really tragic. What exactly, since you are in the Catholic Church within Nigeria, what has been the response of the church? And do you think that there is more that the Catholic Church can be doing? And if so, what? What do you think?
Yeah, I think the church is trying. The leadership of the Catholic Church in Nigeria, or maybe the Christian, because in Nigeria we have the Christian Association of Nigeria, like a group of all the Christian denominations in Nigeria. In the past, they used to be very active. In the past, they used to be the conscience of the nation. They used to be the voice of the voiceless, the hope of the hopeless. But in the recent past, they have been failing in their duty to be the conscience of the nation, to be the voice of the voiceless. Because now, with all of these attacks going on in the country, the Christian Association, the leadership of the Christian Association of Nigeria has not spoken much. So that is on the general level of Christianity in Nigeria. Then within the Catholic Church, the leadership of the Catholic Church in Nigeria is trying. The Catholic bishops of Nigeria, they always speak out, although in writing, not not vocally, in writing, not verbally. So they put out their grievances, trying to speak to the government. But I feel that there is always more to be done.
So
I
what do
feel that
yeah.
there is always more to be done. And the more to be done is that the Catholic Church is a force in the world. Wherever you see the Catholic Church is a force to be reckoned with. So in Nigeria, also the Catholic Church is a force. I believe that the leadership of the Catholic Church in Nigeria can actually have a dialogue with the government so that a solution, because the issue of insecurity in Nigeria, the issue of attacks against Christians in Nigeria, it has not been given a national, it has not been discussed. As in people coming together to set a panel, the church and the government, let us discuss what is happening. There have been series of attacks against our members. How do we find a solution? What is the cause? How do we find a solution to the causes, to the problems? That discussion has not taken place. And that is where I feel that the leadership of the Catholic Church in Nigeria, they need to do more. They need to enter into dialogue with the government of Nigeria or with the this government of the different states where these attacks are on the increase. Let them find a solution around it. They need to speak more to that.
Right. Yeah. I wonder what your perspective was. I know I saw on social media after the hearing with the Congress. I think it was with Congress. I can't remember, but it was a hearing where Bishop Anagbe had come and he had spoken and then testimonies and stuff like that. And some of the people that I saw commenting on it, Nigerians, said that that they ended up, saying like, why hasn't our government done this? Like, why hasn't our Congress done this? I don't understand. Why is it taking the United States government to be hosting a bishop from our country and saying something? And just like the failure in that sense of just not as a country, Nigeria, addressing this. So, did you have a similar perspective to that?
Yes. So I think recently I made a post about it because just 2 weeks ago, some members of the US Congress were in Nigeria and they visited Benue and some of the IDP camps. Yes. And then I was asking myself, we have our senators in Nigeria. How many of them have gone to these IDP camps to visit, to see for themselves the situation, the plight of these people? So it is not all about sitting in the government house approving budgets. Oh, this money is meant for taking care of the people living in the ID camps. Have you gone there to see their plight, to see their situation? So in the United States, for instance, at the moment, in the House, you see issues about the genocide against Christians in Nigeria being discussed. How many times have this issue been discussed in our own parliament in Nigeria? That is why I said that the issue of insecurity in Nigeria needs to be given a national attention. It needs to occupy the discourse on the floor of the Nigerian parliament, but that has not been given our attention. So we are allowing people far away to travel all the way from the United States to come to Nigeria to show empathy, to show compassion to the plight of our people. Why those we elected to protect life and property of our own people show no interest. It is sad.
It is sad. I don't know. It's interesting because I'm an outside perspective too. I've done 4 podcasts on, this is what my 5th one on what's going on with Nigeria. But um, I just think to myself, well, in America, we don't have stuff like this that happens. So I think when we see it on the outside, we're just like so horrified by it. Like, how can this even happen? We don't let this happen in our country. So it just seems like there's like a complacency, like this is just how life is in Nigeria, rather than being like, what can we do to stop it? So I know there's few people that speak out and try, but it just seems, yeah, it's a really sad situation. So, well, is there anything else, Father, that you want to share just about your community, about what's going on with Christians in Nigeria with priests, or do you want to promote your community? Like, where can people actually find out information if somebody's interested in joining your religious community? Do you want to share any of that?
Okay. Okay. Yes. The other point I didn't mention when I was
Okay.
introducing myself and what I do is that I also work in the vocations.
Yeah.
Yes. So I work as the vocations director, and my work as the vocations director is to receive applications from applicants who want to join a religious congregation, get to interview them, and make recommendations to the delegation council of my community for them to be admitted. And in connection with this, with the question you asked, if I have any other thing to say about the situation of Christians in Nigeria, you see, the breed of Christians we have in Nigeria is very unique. Nigerians naturally are very resilient.
Mm-hmm.
You see, of all the attacks going on in Nigeria, you still find faithful Christians.
Mm-hmm.
I remember in one of I think that attack happened in Plateau. Plateau is somewhere in the north, but then it is a Christian-dominated territory.
Mm-hmm.
An attack happened I think on a Friday. The church was attacked and burnt. On Sunday, the people gathered in that same church to pray and to worship.
Wow.
So that is the kind of faith you have in Nigeria, because despite the attacks, you still find vocations.
Right.
You still find people who are interested in becoming priests. Every year, since I work in the vocation, every year I receive over 250 applications from young people who are discerning vocation to the priesthood, who want to join a religious congregation. And you
Mm-hmm.
can imagine the number of religious congregations and dioceses in Nigeria. If 250 are applying to us, how many are applying to the diocese? How many are applying to the other religious
Mm-hmm.
congregations? So people still want to serve God
Mm-hmm.
despite the situation.
Yeah, I
And
know. I notice, actually, having interacted with Nigerians, the Christians that I've interacted with, and even if I post something, I get a lot of God bless you, may our good Lord bless you. It's very religious, it's very beautiful. Even very religious people in America don't necessarily talk like that. So, like in very casual conversation. So, it's beautiful. It just seems like faith is very strong, and like Christianity for Christians is very central and very prominent and very vocal in a way that isn't necessarily always the case in America. So, but I just think when your faith is tested by fire and you're defending it with your own life, you risk every time you go to mass, you risk just being a Christian in Nigeria. What does that do to convict your faith and then say, like, Jesus is Lord, so that's what it reminds me of.
yeah,
Absolutely. Okay. And then just in terms of your community itself, do you want to share a website or even your social media handle? If you're on X, do
yes,
you want to share that?
yes. My congregation, so we have our website,
Hmm.
we have a page on Facebook, and we have also a page, I think we have a page on Instagram. And then about the work we do, so our apostolic work.
Hmm.
So we work with families, we work with the youth, we also work with people who live in disadvantaged territories, those
Hmm.
who are struggling. So it's part of the social work we do. So we try as much as possible to provide life and to provide empowerment for these people who are struggling with life. I'm just looking forward, since I work in the bursary department, so working on a project of building maybe a water factory here that can employ people, so that at least people around us who have no work, so they can get employed and work in that farm, in that project, in that factory. And then from there, they'll be able to earn something for themselves and for their families. So it's part of the work we do. So yes, pastorally, we are doing a lot, but socially, we also need to invest in the life of the people. So I'm going to share with you our website.
Hmm.
I'm going to share with you also our page on Facebook. So
Hmm.
you get to also see, so we'll have a page dedicated to our formation house here. So where our seminarians share their daily life, so what they do and all of that. It will be good for you to take a look at that. So you can also, even though, yes, not a first-hand information, but then you can get an idea of the life and our community and what we do. Maybe
Wonderful.
anytime you visit Nigeria, you are always welcome to please visit us here in Ibadan.
Oh, thank you so much, Father. And then I will also include your X handle down in the description. That's actually how I found you, was on X. So I'll include that as well. And Father shares things about what's going on with the Pope and the Catholic faith and some reflections, and then also some of the things that are also going on with Nigerian Christians. So it's a nice mix on there. So I'll include that as well. And to our wonderful audience, thank you for joining us. And if you do have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section. And I hope you have a wonderful morning, day, or night, wherever you are in the world. And God bless you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.